All right, what's up, everybody? This is Rant. Today we're jumping into 9 things that you can be doing to prepare for the launch of Street Fighter 6. Now, this is not just a video for competitive players or just a video for casual players. We actually have a pretty wide spectrum of tips, so let's jump into it. Okay, the first thing that you need to do is download the Street Fighter 6 demo if you haven't already. This sounds obvious, but get the download started so that way when the video is over, you can jump into some of my later tips because you're going to need the demo in order to use some of those tips. Okay, number 2. Check out all the footage that's out there. There is tons and tons of Street Fighter 6 gameplay out right now, as a huge number of content creators were given early access, and there's gameplay of literally every character. So check out some footage, get a feel for which characters you're excited to play, so that way on launch you already have some idea of how to get started with that character. For example, I'm watching a lot of DJ stuff, every single ounce of footage that I can find related to DJ, just to get an idea of what some of his confirms might be once launch finally happens. Number 3, and this is perhaps the most important one, is hop into the open beta. This beta will be going live on May 19th and ending May 21st. Check the Street Fighter website for exact times and when it's available in your time zone. This open beta will be available on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, and on Steam. And we'll have crossplay across all those platforms, so you can play with your friends. This beta will include 8 characters, those being Luke, Jamie, Chun-Li, Juri, Ryu, Ken, Kimberly, and Guile. This is great because you have a mix of classic Street Fighter characters as well as newcomers, and you also have characters with traditional motion inputs such as Ken, Ryu, and Luke, as well as characters with charge inputs as part of their kit such as Chun-Li and Guile. That way you can practice both of these different ways to play before the game actually launches. Now, this is important. Make sure that you have a Capcom ID because you will need one to access the beta. The primary purpose of this beta is to test the online servers, and that's absolutely what you should be doing. Just get in reps with as many people as you can online and get used to the feel of the game. Now, there's no strict training mode, but whenever you sit at a cabinet in the battle hub, you can train while waiting for an opponent to show up. So you can even go to an empty lobby if you want to try and get as much solo training time as possible. I'll be doing this as part of my live streams once the beta is actually in our hands, so I can show you how to do that if you need further instructions. Now, with that in mind, the third and a half thing that you can do right now to prepare for Street Fighter 6 is subscribe to the channel, because I'm going to be dropping combo videos, character guides, tutorials, hosting tournaments, having ranked and casual matches, and a slew of other Street Fighter content here on the channel. And join our Discord too if you want to be around other like-minded gamers. Okay, tip number 4. Now that the demo is downloaded, there is so much to learn and to do in it. Let's start with the easiest and most casual. You can create your avatar for World Tour mode. Now, this is your custom character that you use in the story mode of the game, as well as special matches with friends, and you might as well bust it out right now, experiment with your look, and get that done before it launches, so that way you're not having to spend too much time once the game is actually in your hands. Number 5, go through the tutorial for the game, as well as the character guides for both available characters, those being Luke and Ryu. I do not care if you're not going to play either of these characters on launch. These guys will walk you through the uses of their moves and help you understand the general feel of the game. And beyond that, you'll undoubtedly fight these characters on launch, so just take whatever advantage you can get right now. Number 6, now there's no pure training mode in the demo, but you can access a semi-training mode through these character guides. Simply go to the level 3 super guide. For Luke, for example, it's the one entitled Pale Rider. Then you'll be able to jump in and practice normals, special moves, supers, drive cancels, pretty much everything except for counter hit combos and punish counter combos. Now, this experience will prove invaluable. You can start familiarizing yourself with the drive gauge, which I will be making a separate video about because there's so much to talk about. But for now, here's 2 important things to focus on. A big thing here is to start practicing drive rush. A pro tip is to do your inputs like this: forward, then forward plus medium attacks at the same time. This has been so much easier than trying to hold the parry and then dash forward. Having a macro assigned is also very helpful for ease of execution. I think the default is left trigger, and I've kept it at that on PS5 controller, so I would recommend that you familiarize yourself with the macro options. Work on familiarizing yourself with classic and modern controls. Now, this is a video I plan on doing separately as well to kind of go into the details of modern and classic controls. Kind of the basics of what you need to know right now is that classic controls give you all the buttons and all the options that your character has, whereas modern controls simplify those options a little bit, but they do give you some benefits such as a single button special move that feels similar to something like Smash, as well as they kind of point you in the direction of what moves, and normals the game thinks is most important for your character to utilize at any given time. Now again, even if you don't plan on playing these characters, be sure to mess around with some combos because they are perfect introductory characters. They will teach you how combos work in this game. This will also teach you how much drive gauge different motions cost. For example, a drive rush in neutral only costs you 1 bar, whereas if you cancel off of a normal into a rush, it costs you 3 bars. This is huge when understanding where you want to allocate your drive gauge meter. This also applies to EX moves. For example, when I started messing around with Luke, I was using EX moves and blowing about 2 bars of drive gauge in any given combo, such as the example I'm showing you right now. Then with practice, I started to only use 1 bar for more damage, like in this example. This has not only helped my optimization for Luke, but has also taught me about combo theory in this game as a whole. Okay, number 7, now once you think you're good, hop in and fight the CPU. Do not start with level 8. I'd encourage you to start with level 4 or 5 and slowly work your way up to around 7 if you want a challenge. Level 8 is definitely beatable. I've beaten level 8 a couple of times, but it is also absolutely reading your inputs, whereas level 7 feels much closer to a strong opponent who at the very least isn't reading the future at all times. Now for pro players, make sure you understand what you'll be using for a controller. Street Fighter 6 will be played on PS5 at EVO as a tournament standard. So they'll use a fight stick or a hitbox with PS5 compatibility or get used to the PS5 controller. Now there is a Brook converter coming out May 16th that you can try to get your hands on if you want to use an older controller such as a PS4, potentially even an Xbox. So if you're competing in official tournaments, just be prepared and aware. Okay, last but not least, play the demo with your friends. Invite a buddy over and just start mashing buttons. You can even play through PS5 screen share, which isn't that ideal, or use Parsec on PC for friends who aren't local. Parsec is fantastic if you do have a PC because there's very little input lag, so definitely a great option there. All right, and those tips should help you get more prepared for the launch of Street Fighter 6. Okay, and the last thing I can tell you is to simply get hype. Continue to get excited for this game because the most exciting time in any fighting game's launch is right before it launches and then a month or 2 after it releases. And now is the time to just be happy. Just be happy, stoked, excited. Make a tier list of what characters you want to play and send it to your buddies and listen to theirs, right? I have a tier list on my own channel of what characters I'm most excited to play. It is just so fun to like theory craft and come up with ideas and routes and combo ideas before the game's actually out. This is frankly just a magical time and I cannot wait for launch. All right, and that's going to be it. Thank you guys so much for sticking around to the end of the video. If you liked what you saw and you want to see more Street Fighter guides, Street Fighter tutorials, then leave a subscribe. And I cannot wait for this launch. It's going to be a blast. Can't wait to play against you guys.